Have you ever had that nagging feeling that the world is moving just a little bit too fast for comfort? Well, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you might just keep you up at night. We are living through a period of history that historians will eventually call the Great Displacement, and the biggest question you should be asking yourself right now is this: is your career secretly on the AI hit list? I'm not talking about some distant future where robots serve us drinks on Mars. I'm talking about right now, in our world, leading up to the year 2030. There is a digital shadow looming over the global workforce, and for many of us, the clock is ticking much faster than we realize. The statistics are nothing short of shocking, yet for some reason, the mainstream media isn't shouting these numbers nearly loud enough. We are seeing automation speeds that defy all previous logic. Recent data suggests that the rate of AI integration in the workplace is accelerating at an exponential curve, meaning every single month of progress is now equal to years of traditional industrial change. We're witnessing a transformation that makes the original industrial revolution look like a slow-motion walk in the park. But while the news focuses on the soaring stock prices of tech giants like OpenAI, Google, and Meta, they are glossing over the massive human cost. Millions of roles are being analyzed, optimized, and ultimately replaced by algorithms that don't need coffee breaks, health insurance, or a monthly salary. This is what experts are calling the invisible coup. For decades, the narrative was simple: if you worked with your hands, you were at risk. But if you worked with your mind, you were safe. We were told to go to college, get those degrees, and join the office royalty. But the script has been flipped in the most dramatic way possible. AI isn't just coming for the factory floor anymore. It's knocking on the doors of the high-paying white-collar sanctuaries. The very tools we thought would help us be more productive are now proving they can do the entire job better and cheaper than any human ever could. It's a silent takeover of the professional class, happening right now behind the closed doors of Silicon Valley boardrooms. Now, why is 2030 the magic number? It's because 2030 has become the point of no return for the global workforce. By then, the infrastructure for total automation will be fully baked into every major industry. It's the deadline where the balance of power shifts permanently from human labor to artificial intelligence. We are currently in the transition phase, the calm before the storm, where the tech giants are fine-tuning their superstars, complex problem-solving models like the mysterious Q, to handle tasks we once thought required true human intuition. The chaos is already starting to bubble under the surface. Industries that were once considered absolutely future-proof are now facing a total meltdown. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Seriously, look at what's happening in sectors like data analysis or middle management. These were the safe bets, the career paths our parents told us were solid as a rock. Now, they are the front lines of the job apocalypse. The reality is that the definition of a stable career is being rewritten in real time, and most people are still reading a book from a decade ago. But wait, it gets even crazier. You might think that being creative is the ultimate shield against a machine. Well, I've got some juicy news for you, and it's not exactly a fairy tale. Some of the most glamorous, high-profile creative jobs are actually the very first on the chopping block. Rumors are swirling, and the evidence is mounting that the human touch might not be as indispensable as we once believed or even hoped. Remember how everyone in the 2010s was shouting "learn to code" from the rooftops? Junior coders and data analysts were the absolute golden children of the tech era. If you could navigate a Python script or build a basic app, you were practically guaranteed a seat at the table with a fancy ergonomic chair and free artisanal coffee. But oh, how the tables have turned. These once untouchable roles are suddenly the underdogs in a fight they didn't even see coming. Why hire a junior developer to spend 40 hours debugging a project when an AI model can spit out clean, functional code in under 30 seconds? It's a brutal reality check for a generation that was told they were future-proofing their lives. We're seeing senior engineers now using these tools to do the work of 5 people, essentially making the entry-level ladder disappear right under the feet of new grads. And it's not just the keyboard warriors feeling the chill. Let's talk about the customer service drama. Do you remember when talking to a chatbot was like arguing with a brick wall? You'd type help and it would give you the weather forecast for some reason. Well, those days are long gone. Chatbots have officially graduated from annoying to job-stealing superstars. With the integration of natural language processing, these digital agents are handling complex queries, processing refunds, and even managing high-stakes negotiations with a level of patience no human could ever maintain. Large call centers that once employed thousands are becoming ghost towns, replaced by servers that don't need dental insurance or a lunch break. You won't believe how many companies are bragging about 90% reduction in response times while simultaneously handing out pink slips to their human support teams. It's a total fall from grace for a sector that used to be the entry point for millions of workers worldwide. Speaking of the human touch, the world of writing and content creation is currently in the middle of a full-blown scandal. We're seeing a scandalous rise in generative AI taking over the blogosphere and even script writing. Yes, the very script you might be reading elsewhere could very well be the product of a machine's imagination. Writers who spent years honing their craft are now competing with algorithms that can churn out 10 articles before a human can finish their first cup of tea. It's a massive industry shakeup that's leaving many wondering if voice and soul are just metrics that can be programmed. The once glamorous world of digital journalism and copywriting is being hollowed out, as the producers of these AI tools prioritize speed and volume over the nuance of a human perspective. But wait, it goes deeper than just the creatives. The administrative fall from grace is perhaps the most quiet but devastating shift of all. Virtual assistants and middle management are feeling the heat like never before. If your job involves coordinating schedules, organizing data, or being the bridge between two departments, AI has its eyes on you. Think about it. Middle management was once the ultimate goal for many corporate climbers. It was the safe bet. But now, AI is proving to be much more efficient at the logistical side of management. These tools can track performance, assign tasks, and predict project bottlenecks faster than any human supervisor. The administrative layer of the global workforce is thinning out, leaving a massive gap between the executives and the executors. The tech giants, OpenAI, Google, and Meta, are the real producers behind this massive industry shakeup. They aren't just creating tools, they are fundamentally rewriting the script of what it means to be a professional. Roles that were once considered the backbone of the middle class are being dismantled in favor of efficiency and scalability. It's a wild time to be alive, isn't it? The roles we once thought were the safe bets have become the most vulnerable almost overnight. You have to wonder, did we build these systems to help us work, or are we just the training data for the things that will eventually replace us? The golden children who were promised the world are now facing a cold, hard reality. They were told that technology was the ultimate shield, but it turns out the shield is now pointing its sharpest edge at them. It's a classic case of the actors, the human workers, being written out of the script by the very producers who once gave them their leading roles. The tech giants have moved from the development phase to the replacement phase. This isn't just about making our lives easier, it's about making our presence optional in the systems we helped build. The safe bet wasn't actually safe, it was just the first stop on a very fast train toward 2030. Middle managers who spent years climbing the ladder are finding that their coordination skills are now just a series of API calls. It's a dizzying fall from grace that is leaving the professional class in a state of absolute shock. As we look toward the 2030 deadline, the scramble for relevance is only going to get more intense, and the players are still figuring out the rules. We are watching the script flip in real time, and nobody is quite sure if they have a speaking part in the next act. But wait, because the behind-the-scenes secrets are about to get even darker. If you think the public-facing announcements from Silicon Valley are intense, wait until you hear what's happening behind closed doors. There are whispers, real, juicy whispers, about leaked internal memos circulating within the highest echelons of the tech world. Rumor has it that big tech CEOs aren't just looking to assist their employees anymore. They are actively mapping out a blueprint for a skeleton crew future. We're talking about high-level strategy documents where the human factor is listed as a liability rather than an asset. It's chilling to think about, isn't it? Imagine sitting in a Zoom meeting where the ultimate goal of the leadership is to figure out how to make your entire department redundant. These memos represent a fundamental shift in how the producers of this digital age view the global workforce. They see a future where human oversight is just a transitionary phase toward total automation, and the efficiency scandal is already hitting the headlines, even if the mainstream media is afraid to call it by its real name. Have you noticed how some major companies are suddenly operating with just a fraction of their former staff? There are real-world examples of tech firms cutting 90% of their specialized teams in favor of a single, highly tuned AI model. 90%! Entire departments that used to buzz with life, heated debates over coffee, and collaborative problem-solving are being replaced by a silent server rack in a cooled basement. It's not just a rumor, it's a cold, hard strategy. These companies are betting that one super algorithm can outperform 1,000 human minds, and the stock market is rewarding them for it. Every time a layoff is announced, The shares go up, signaling that the human workers, the actors in this play, are no longer the stars of the show. But here is where it gets truly personal, the training betrayal. This is the ultimate stab in the back for the human worker. Do you ever wonder why your daily tasks have become so digitalized lately? Why you're suddenly tasked with validating or reviewing automated outputs? Well, here's the kicker. Workers are unknowingly training the very algorithms that will replace them. Every time you correct a chatbot's mistake, every time a junior coder refines an AI-generated script, or every time a designer picks the best version from a machine's gallery, you're feeding the beast. You are essentially handing over your unique professional intuition, your secret sauce, to a piece of software that won't even say thank you when it eventually takes your desk. It's a parasitic dynamic where our own excellence is being used to build our replacements. We are teaching the machines how to mimic our soul and our hard-earned expertise. Then there's the mystery of secretive projects like Q. If you've been scrolling through tech forums late at night, you've probably seen the name. Rumors say Q isn't just about predicting the next word in a sentence. It's about complex problem solving that rivals a human's cognitive ability. We're talking about the kind of high-level thinking that was once the exclusive domain of PhDs and senior strategists. If these rumors are true, the jobs we thought were safe because they required deep thought are suddenly in the crosshairs. It's like the tech giants are building a digital god, and the humans who are helping build it are just the ladder it uses to climb to the top. Once the summit is reached, the ladder is simply tossed away without a second thought. Look at the numbers, and the evidence is everywhere. We're witnessing quiet layoffs across Silicon Valley. Instead of one giant announcement that scares investors, companies are letting go of small teams and letting natural attrition do the heavy lifting. It's a slow motion collapse of the traditional employment model. The producers are playing the long game, slowly draining the human element until only a ghost crew remains. This isn't just happening in tech, it's spreading to every industry that touches a keyboard. The digital landscape is being hollowed out from the inside, leaving only a shell of what used to be a vibrant job market. Is there any hope? Well, some people point to the hallucinations, those weird moments where AI gets things hilariously or dangerously wrong. Are these just temporary glitches or a reason to stay hopeful? Some optimistic souls believe the human ability to understand context and ethics will always be a barrier for machines. But let's be real, if the AI is 99% right and 100% cheaper, will the big tech CEOs really care about that 1% of weirdness? Or is the hallucination just a minor bug that will be patched out by the time the 2027 pivot rolls around? The training betrayal is almost complete, and the quiet layoffs are just the beginning of a much louder storm. Can you feel the tension in the air? Because the social media world is about to explode with the fallout of this invisible coup. The tension isn't just in boardrooms anymore. It's spilled over into the digital streets, and the temperature is rising. X is absolutely on fire right now. Have you seen the feeds lately? It's no longer just memes. It's a digital battlefield where tech whistleblowers are dropping truth bombs that would make any HR department break into a cold sweat. These insiders, who helped build the systems we're discussing, are leaking stories that feel like scenes from a sci-fi thriller. They're talking about ghost projects and internal metrics that prioritize silicon over souls. Some of these viral takes are genuinely terrifying, painting a picture where the human factor is being actively deleted from corporate DNA. You'll see a thread with 1 million likes detailing how a major tech giant plans to automate middle management by 2026. And suddenly, that morning coffee tastes a bit bitter, doesn't it? Then you've got the chaos over on Reddit. If you venture into the r/anti-work or r/singularity subreddits, you'll witness a full-scale war. On one side, the anti-work crowd is fueled by righteous anger and deep anxiety, arguing that the system is broken if progress means poverty. On the other side, the AI optimists seem almost giddy at the prospect of a post-labor world, ignoring the very real pain of the transition. The comment sections are absolute goldmines of drama. You'll see a former golden child, maybe a junior coder who just got the boot, arguing with a tech bro who's convinced that everyone can just become a prompt engineer and get rich. It's a clash of ideologies as we approach the 2030 deadline. Is it liberation from drudgery or a descent into obsolescence? The upvotes and downvotes are flying like digital shrapnel, and nobody is backing down. And we can't forget TikTok. Oh man. The career pivot influencers are having a field day with our collective panic. You've probably seen them on your For You page, pointing at floating text and telling you that your marketing degree is a coaster now, but their exclusive masterclass on AI proofing your life is what saves you. Are they actually helping or just chasing the cloud of the crisis? It's hard to tell. 1 minute they're showing you how to use AI to do your job in half the time, and the next they're warning you that the AI will be doing your job for zero pay soon. They're capitalizing on the survival instincts of the global workforce, turning genuine fears into viral content. In a world where the dream job is dying, I guess influencer is the last role standing for some. Even celebrity experts are chiming in. But you really have to read between the lines. You'll hear tech moguls giving grand speeches about ethical AI and human-centric design on stage at fancy conferences. But what are they actually doing? Behind the scenes, they're the ones funding the producers at OpenAI, Google, and Meta. They talk about safety while racing to release the next model that makes another 10,000 humans redundant. It's a classic case of do as I say, not as I do. They're building high-tech bunkers and investing in automation while telling the rest of us to stay positive and upskill. Talk about a vibe check that fails every single time. But wait, there is a counterculture brewing. The human-made movement is gaining serious traction worldwide. It's a new trend of people actively boycotting AI-generated services in favor of the real deal. People are seeking out artisanal code and human-designed logos. There's a growing hunger for something that feels authentic, something with that messy, imperfect human touch. You're seeing labels popping up online that guarantee no algorithms were used in a product's making. Is it enough to save us? Can a boutique, human-only agency really compete with a tech giant using a Q model that produces work in seconds? It feels like a beautiful, but perhaps desperate, last stand for the actors who refuse to leave the stage. Are we watching the death of the dream job in real time? For decades, we were told to follow our passions. But when every intellectual pursuit can be mimicked by a machine, what happens to that dream? The global workforce is feeling the weight of this existential dread. If your calling can be automated, what are you left with? It's a psychological shift hitting hard, and the social media outcry is just the tip of the iceberg. We're not just talking about losing a paycheck, we're talking about losing a piece of our identity, and as the 2030 clock keeps ticking, the noise is only going to get louder. Are you ready for the next plot twist? Because things are about to get even weirder, with the human-made movement gaining momentum. We're witnessing the birth of a brand new economic tier, the human premium. Think about it for a second. When everything from your legal advice to your children's bedtime stories is generated by a cold, calculating algorithm, having a real, breathing person on the other end of the line becomes the ultimate status symbol. Will we reach a point where only the super wealthy can afford to talk to a human doctor or a human therapist? It's a wild thought, right? We're talking about a world where designed by a human is the new organic or fair trade. The tech giants like OpenAI and Meta might be flooding the market with cheap, efficient silicon solutions, but they're accidentally creating a massive demand for the one thing they can't mass produce: genuine human connection. It's like the more digital our lives become, the more we crave the messy, unpredictable nature of a real person. And while the marketplace shifts, the rumors in the halls of power are getting louder and more frantic. Have you heard the whispers about universal basic income, or UBI? The gossip is that governments are already drafting secret plans for a payout for the jobless masses. If the global workforce is being written out of the script by the producers in Silicon Valley, who is actually going to buy the products these AI models create? It's the ultimate economic paradox. Big tech CEOs are reportedly meeting with world leaders to discuss how to keep society from collapsing when 40% of the population is suddenly redundant. Is UBI a utopian dream where we all focus on art and hobbies? Or is it a dystopian hush money meant to keep the masses from rioting in the streets? It's a plot twist that feels like it's been ripped straight out of a Hollywood movie, but the evidence in economic white papers suggests it's very real. But don't count the human race out just yet, because as the old jobs die, some seriously weird new power players are emerging from the ashes. We're not just talking about prompt engineers anymore. While those career pivot influencers try to sell us courses on how to survive, we're looking at the rise of roles like AI emotion tuners or reality verifiers. Imagine a job where your sole purpose is to make sure the AI isn't hallucinating something that could crash the global stock market. Or what about digital heritage curators who help families manage the AI avatars of their deceased loved ones? It's a strange world where the skill sets we value today might be totally useless. replaced by niches we can't even fully describe yet. The golden children of the 2010s might have been junior coders, but the stars of the late 2020s will be people who specialize in the delicate art of human-AI synergy. Speaking of timing, let's talk about that 2027 pivot. While most headlines point to 2030 as the point of no return, a growing group of tech whistleblowers on X is sounding the alarm that the job apocalypse is actually scheduled for much sooner. They're saying that the jump from current tech to something like the rumored Q model won't be a gradual step, but a vertical leap. If an AI can suddenly reason and solve complex problems better than a senior analyst, that 2030 deadline is gonna look very optimistic. We might be only 3 years away from a total structural shift in how the world works. The pressure is mounting, and it's making people wonder, will we just sit back and let it happen, or is there a way to pull the plug? Could there be a global tech strike? Speculation is swirling about a worldwide pushback against AI integration. Imagine a day when the global workforce simply stops. No more data labeling, no more feeding the algorithms, no more training betrayal. Like a digital picket line where humans refuse to interact with any company that has replaced more than half its human staff with silicon. It would be a showdown for the ages, the ultimate battle between the actors and the producers. It's the kind of high-stakes drama that keeps the Reddit anti-work community up at night. If we can't beat the machines, maybe we can just refuse to help them get any smarter. So, which season finale are we heading toward for the human race? Is it the dystopian nightmare where we're all living on government scraps while AI overlords run the economy from a server farm? Or is it the utopian vision where human creativity finally flourishes because we've outsourced all the drudgery to the machines? The tension is becoming unbearable, and honestly, the script is still being written in real time. We're standing at the crossroads of history, watching the old world burn while a new, unrecognizable one rises from the smoke. One thing is for certain, the what happens next is going to be the most intense chapter yet. So here we are, at the final vibe check of our long journey toward the 2030 horizon. It's a lot to process, isn't it? When we take a step back and look at the industries we've covered throughout this series, the picture is pretty stark and honestly, a little bit intimidating. From the once untouchable junior coders and data analysts, those golden children of the last decade who were told they held the keys to the kingdom, to the creative souls who genuinely thought their unique human imagination was an impenetrable fortress, the landscape has been completely reshaped. We've seen customer service transform from a helpful human conversation into a sequence of hyper-efficient algorithms, and we've watched as middle management faces an existential crisis brought on by the ruthless efficiency of the tech giants. It's no longer a question of if the script is changing, it's a question of how many of us will still have a leading role when the final curtain falls on this decade. Let's be real for a second. How does your daily routine stack up against the capabilities of a Q model or the next iteration from OpenAI and Google? This is the moment for some serious self-reflection and a bit of a reality check. Is your specific career path truly AI-proof, or are you just AI delayed? It's a harsh way to put it, I know, but in the sleek boardrooms of Silicon Valley, that's exactly how the producers are looking at the global workforce. They see a timeline, a series of checkpoints where human tasks are gradually handed over to the machines for the sake of that efficiency scandal we talked about. Maybe you feel safe today because your job requires a bit of emotional nuance or a specific type of physical dexterity that robots haven't mastered yet. But remember, the speed of this evolution isn't linear. It's exponential. What seems impossible for a machine today might be a standard built-in feature by the time the 2027 pivot rolls around. We've talked about the training betrayal, where every email you write and every customer issue you resolve feeds the very beast that might eventually replace you. It feels a bit like being an actor who is forced to teach their own digital double how to mimic their every move, only for the studio to tell you that the double is cheaper, faster, and never complains about working weekends or wanting a raise. The tech whistleblowers on X aren't just shouting into the void for their own health. They are showing us the blueprint of a world where the human premium is a luxury most won't be able to afford. The pressure is on, and that 2030 clock is ticking louder than ever before. Now, I want to hear directly from you. the real-life members of this global workforce. We're all in this together, facing the same point of no return regardless of our job titles. Are you already starting to pivot your career, perhaps listening to those career pivot influencers and looking for a niche that AI can't easily replicate? Or are you betting everything on the hope that your boss stays human and values that human-made connection over the massive bottom-line savings offered by Meta or Google? Drop a comment below and let's get a real conversation going. Are we looking at a future of universal basic income and creative leisure, or a desperate scramble for the few remaining human-centric roles? Your perspective is the one thing the algorithms haven't managed to simulate perfectly, at least not yet. The 2030 countdown has already started, and if there's one thing we've learned, it's that the clock is ticking faster than most people realize. We aren't just passive observers in this story, we are the protagonists, even if the producers are trying to rewrite our lines. Whether we're heading toward a utopian era of freedom or a dystopian struggle for relevance depends entirely on how we navigate these next few critical years. It's a high-stakes game, and the tech giants have already made their first moves. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with this unfolding drama, unless of course you'd rather have an AI summarize these videos for you in the future. But seriously, staying informed and staying flexible is your best defense against the invisible coup. Before you go, here's one last thought to keep you thinking. We've spent this entire series looking at the dark side of AI and the jobs it's coming for. But what if I told you there's one specific industry, one deep corner of the human experience that everyone swears AI can never ever touch? Some call it the final frontier of the human soul. The place where Silicon simply cannot venture. Next time we're going to dive deep into that world to see if it's truly safe. Or if the machines are already knocking on that door too. The 2030 deadline is coming. Are you ready? Stay curious, stay human, and we'll see you in the next chapter of our digital future. Have you ever had that nagging feeling that the world is moving just a little bit too fast for comfort? You are sitting at your desk, sipping your morning coffee and checking your emails, while somewhere in a sleek glass-walled office in Silicon Valley, a group of developers just pressed enter on a piece of code that could change your life forever. We have all heard the rumors, right? We have seen the headlines about robots taking over factories and self-driving trucks hitting the road. But what if I told you the real threat isn't a mechanical arm on an assembly line, but the very software you are using right now? Welcome to the era of the invisible coup. This isn't just a slow transition, it is a full-blown revolution, and your career might already be on the secret AI hit list for 2030. It is a chilling thought, isn't it? The mainstream media is giving us the sanitized version, talking about efficiency and digital transformation, but they aren't shouting the truth loud enough. We are approaching a point of no return at a speed that is honestly terrifying. Think about the sheer pace of this automation for a second. It is absolutely mind-blowing how quickly the goalposts are shifting. We aren't talking about decades of gradual change anymore. We are talking about weeks and months where the impossible suddenly becomes the standard. Tech giants like OpenAI, Google, and Meta are locked in an arms race that makes the old school tech wars look like a playground dispute. They are pumping out models that can reason, create, and solve problems faster than any human brain could ever dream of. And here's the real kicker that nobody wants to admit. These tools are being trained on our own work. Every email we write, every line of code a junior developer submits, and every report a data analyst compiles is just fuel for the machine. We are essentially building the hammer that might eventually smash our own glass ceilings. This is what we call the training betrayal. The office royalty, those high-paying, comfortable white-collar roles we all thought were safe behind degrees and experience, are now the primary targets. The ivory towers are shaking, and the clock is ticking toward a very specific deadline, the year 2030. But why 2030? Why is this specific year being whispered about in the hallways of power as the point of no return for the global workforce? It is because by then, the integration of artificial intelligence won't be an optional upgrade or a cool tool for your browser. It will be the core operating system of every single industry on the planet. We are looking at a total meltdown of what we used to call future-proof careers. Remember when being a junior coder was the ultimate golden ticket, or when data analysis was considered the safest bet in the job market? Well, the script has flipped overnight. These roles, once the golden children of the 2010s, are suddenly looking like the underdogs in a fight they didn't see coming. It is a total summary of chaos, and it is happening right under our noses while we are busy scrolling through our feeds. The shift is so quiet and so subtle that many people won't realize the floor has dropped out until they are already in freefall. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We really want to know how far this conversation is reaching. The reality is that industries that were once considered untouchable are facing a total identity crisis. We are seeing a massive administrative fall from grace as middle management and virtual assistants realize their tasks can be handled by a single algorithm. Even the creative world isn't safe. You might think your artistic flair or your way with words protects you, but the algorithms are getting surprisingly good at faking a human soul. Rumors say that the glamorous jobs, the ones everyone wanted at the start of the decade, are actually the first ones on the chopping block. Stay tuned because we are about to dive into which specific careers are facing the most scandalous rise of the machines. The 2030 countdown has already started, and it's time to find out if your paycheck is actually AI proof or if you are just living on borrowed time. Is your job truly safe? Or are you just next in line for the invisible coup? The evidence is stacking up, and the truth is way more dramatic than you think. This is only the beginning of the shakeup. Remember how everyone in the 2010s was shouting "learn to code" from the rooftops? It was the ultimate life hack, the golden ticket to a career that was supposedly untouchable. If you had a laptop and a decent understanding of Python or Java, you were basically set for life. Junior coders and data analysts were the absolute golden children of the tech world, the office royalty who enjoyed those famous six-figure starting salaries and lived in a world of endless perks. But man, how quickly the tables have turned. Suddenly, these same high-flying professionals are finding themselves in the role of the underdog. It is a massive shock to the system, isn't it? The very tools they helped build, the algorithms they spent years refining, are now doing their jobs better, faster, and way cheaper than any human could ever hope to. Why hire a junior dev to debug lines of code for 40 hours a week when an AI model can do it in 40 seconds? The logic is brutal, and it is catching everyone off guard. Now, let's talk about the customer service drama, because this one is hitting close to home for millions. We all remember those early chatbots, right? They were clunky, frustrating, and half the time they couldn't even understand a basic yes or no question. They were mostly just an annoying barrier between you and a real person. But have you noticed the shift lately? They went from being the annoying pop-up on a website to absolute job-stealing superstars. These new AI models don't just read a preset script, they understand nuance. They detect frustration in your tone, and they can solve complex billing issues without ever needing to check with a supervisor. And for the global workforce in these sectors, it feels like the floor is disappearing. These bots don't need coffee breaks, they don't get burnt out, and they certainly don't ask for a raise. It's a total transformation of the industry, and it's happening right now. But wait, there is even more to this scandalous rise of the machines. If you think the creative world is safe in its little aesthetic bubble, you might want to sit down. Writing and content creation are currently facing a massive identity crisis. Generative AI is taking over the blogosphere and script writing at a pace that is honestly dizzying. You've seen it on your social feeds, articles that sound perfectly human, social media posts that get thousands of likes, and even full-blown marketing campaigns created entirely by algorithms. The content creators who used to spend days researching and polishing are now competing with a machine that can churn out high-quality work in the time it takes you to blink. It's a gut punch to anyone who thought their human touch was enough to keep them relevant in the 2030 countdown. Then there is the administrative fall from grace. This one is particularly spicy because it hits the heart of middle management. For years, this was the safe bet, the solid middle-class dream. You managed the people, you handled the workflows, and you kept the corporate machine running. But now, middle management is feeling the heat like never before. Virtual assistants and administrative AI tools are now capable of scheduling, tracking productivity, and even making strategic decisions that were once the exclusive domain of human managers. The administrative layer is being trimmed down in what many are calling a quiet but effective corporate purge. Who are the producers behind this massive industry shakeup? Look no further than the tech giants, OpenAI, Google, and Meta. These aren't just tech companies anymore. They are the architects of a whole new reality. They are driving the innovation that is making these roles redundant, often while using the data we provided to train their systems. It's the ultimate irony, isn't it? These roles were once the safe bets because they required logic and organization, but it turns out those are exactly the things AI does best. The script has flipped, and the office royalty is realizing that the 2030 deadline is much closer than it appears on the calendar. We are watching the rules of the game change in real time, and nobody was given a rule book. If you think the public-facing announcements from Silicon Valley are intense, wait until you hear what's happening behind closed doors. We're talking about leaked internal memos that would make any HR department break out in a cold sweat. While the official press releases from the tech giants speak of augmenting human potential and harmonious collaboration, the private emails tell a completely different story. Rumors are circulating that top-tier CEOs are actually discussing a future where human overhead is treated as a legacy cost to be phased out. It's a ruthless calculation, isn't it? One memo allegedly suggested that the goal isn't just to help workers, but to eventually automate the entire decision-making chain. It feels like we're being fed a sugar-coated version of a much more bitter pill. These corporations aren't just looking for efficiency, they are looking for a total reset of the labor market where the office royalty no longer holds the keys to the castle. Let's talk about the efficiency scandal, because this is where the numbers get truly terrifying. We've all seen the headlines about layoffs, but have you heard about the companies that are cutting 90% of their staff in favor of a single AI model? It's not just a dystopian sci-fi movie plot, it's a reality happening right now in the shadows of the corporate world. There's one story making the rounds about a mid-sized tech firm that replaced its entire customer support and data entry departments with a customized version of a large language model. The result? Productivity actually went up while costs plummeted to nearly zero. For the shareholders, it was a dream come true, but for the hundreds of families left without a paycheck, it was a total nightmare. This isn't just about trimming the fat anymore. It's about gutting the building and replacing the foundation with silicon. Can you imagine the shock of being told a piece of software can do your decade-long career better than you ever could? This leads us to what many are calling the training betrayal. Imagine going to work every day, thinking you're just doing your job, only to realize you're actually teaching your replacement. This is the dark reality for the global workforce right now. Every time a junior coder corrects a line of code generated by an AI, or a content creator edits a machine-written blog post to make it sound more human, they are providing the high-quality feedback the algorithm needs to get better. You are literally feeding the beast that is hungry for your desk. It's a parasitic relationship where the tech giants are using our unique human insights to polish the very tools that will eventually make those insights unnecessary. It's like being asked to build the gallows you're supposed to stand on. We are essentially handing over the blueprints of our expertise for free, helping the machine learn the tricks of our trade until we are no longer needed in the room. And then there's the talk of Project Q. If you haven't heard the whispers about this one yet, you need to buckle up. Whistleblowers on X are sounding the alarm about a secretive project deep within the labs of OpenAI that supposedly represents a massive leap in logical reasoning. Unlike current AI that mostly predicts the next likely word in a sentence, Q is rumored to be able to solve complex, unseen mathematical and strategic problems, the kind of stuff that junior coders and data analysts thought made them indispensable. If these rumors are true, we aren't just looking at a better chatbot or a faster search engine, we're looking at a machine that can actually reason through a problem. This is the smoking gun that has Silicon Valley insiders nervous. It's not just about processing data anymore. It's about the machines beginning to master the art of strategy and complex logic, but you don't have to wait for a secret project to see the damage. The evidence is right there in the numbers if you look closely enough at the quiet layoffs happening across Silicon Valley and beyond. Companies aren't always making big, loud announcements about firing thousands of people because that looks bad for the stock price. Instead, they're just not rehiring. They're letting roles sit empty, quietly shifting responsibilities to AI-driven workflows and watching the headcount drop through natural attrition. It's a slow-motion collapse of the traditional employment model. The office royalty is seeing their ranks thin out, not with a bang, but with a silent update to the company's internal software. Now you might be thinking, but wait, what about the AI hallucinations? Surely that means we're safe. It's a fair point. We've all seen AI confidently state things that are completely wrong. Some experts argue that these glitches are the reason to stay hopeful, that a machine will never truly replace the accuracy and nuance of a human brain. But is it just a temporary glitch or a genuine reason to stay hopeful? Most tech whistleblowers suggest that these errors are being ironed out faster than we can even track. What we see as a funny mistake today is just a data point for the algorithm to fix by tomorrow. The human touch is becoming a smaller and smaller target for the machines to hit. It's a wild ride, and we're just getting into the really messy part of the story. The tension isn't just simmering in corporate hallways anymore. It has spilled onto the digital streets, and the temperature is boiling. Over on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, it's on fire with threads that keep people awake at night. Tech whistleblowers are coming forward with takes as viral as they are terrifying. These insiders are leaking stories suggesting the invisible coup is way further along than any of us realized. Every time a new leak about Project Q or a secretive internal efficiency metric drops, the internet collective loses its mind. It's a wild mix of I told you so and genuine gut-wrenching panic. We are watching the blueprint of our future being exposed, one viral tweet at a time, as the 2030 clock keeps ticking. But the drama doesn't stop there. If you venture into the depths of Reddit, you'll find a full-scale ideological war unfolding across various subreddits. On one side, the folks that are anti-work are looking at this automation wave with a mix of dread and burn it all down energy. They see the writing on the wall for the office royalty and are sounding the alarm about the death of labor dignity. On the other side, the AI optimists are tech bros who think every job loss is just a necessary pivot toward a leisure-filled utopia. The comment sections are literal battlefields. One side argues we're heading for a digital dark age, while the other claims we're on the verge of a world where robots do all the boring stuff for us. Then there's TikTok. The career pivot influencers have entered the chat, and it's a total circus. You've seen them, creators with ring lights and perfect hair telling you to learn a trade or get into plumbing before it's too late. It's hard to tell if they're actually helping people navigate this crisis, or if they're just chasing the cloud of the chaos. Some share genuine advice on staying relevant, but others just document their own day in my life getting replaced by an algorithm for the views. It's a weird meta performance of professional anxiety that millions are watching in real time. Are they the new career counselors, or just profit-driven sirens leading us toward a cliff? It's a strange way to witness a global shift. While we're scrolling through these feeds, we can't ignore what the celebrity experts are actually doing. You hear big names like Sam Altman talking about human-centric AI and safety guardrails, but then you look at their own companies and see the quiet layoffs happening. It's a massive do as I say, not as I do situation. They tell us that junior coders and data analysts will evolve, yet their companies are building the very tools that make those roles obsolete. The public is starting to notice the disconnect, and the skepticism is at an all-time high. It's like the captains of a ship are telling us the icebergs are just giant marshmallows while they're quietly lowering the lifeboats for themselves and leaving us all on the deck. In the midst of all this noise, a new movement is starting to gain some serious traction, the human-made movement. It's becoming a bit of a trend, with people actively boycotting AI-generated services and seeking out products that are explicitly labeled as being created by real humans. You see it on Etsy, in small-scale graphic design shops, and even in high-end copywriting circles. People are starting to ask, was this written by a soul, or just a sophisticated math equation? It's a fascinating pushback, but you have to wonder, is it enough? Can a small group of enthusiasts really stand against the tidal wave of efficiency the tech giants are unleashing? It feels like trying to stop a tsunami with a beach umbrella. Still, the effort represents a growing hunger for authentic connection. This all brings us back to a heavy question, haunting everyone from middle management to the newest interns. Are we watching the death of the dream job in real time? For decades, we were told that if we worked hard and got into those glamorous tech or creative roles, we'd be set for life. Now that dream looks like a digital ghost story. The security of the office royalty is crumbling, and the career path is being rewritten by an algorithm that doesn't care about your retirement plan. We're witnessing a shift so profound, it's hard to even wrap our heads around it. The excitement of the tech revolution is being replaced by a cold look at the scoreboard, and the game is changing faster than anyone anticipated. But wait, because things are about to get even weirder than you can possibly imagine as we head into the next chapter of this chaos. With the human-made movement gaining momentum, we're witnessing the birth of a brand new economic tire, the human premium. Think about it for a second. In a world where everything is cheap, perfect, and churned out by a machine in milliseconds, what becomes the ultimate status symbol? It's the beautiful, messy imperfection of a human touch. We're moving toward a reality where the middle class interacts with hyper-efficient chatbots, while the ultra-wealthy pay a massive markup just to speak with a living, breathing person. Whether it's a bespoke piece of furniture, a handwritten legal brief, or a therapy session with someone who actually has a pulse, human interaction is becoming a luxury service. It's like organic food or handmade watches. But for every aspect of our lives, will human verified become the most expensive label in the world? It certainly looks that way. And then there's the elephant in the room that no one can stop talking about, the universal basic income rumor. It's no longer just a fringe idea for sci-fi novels or radical economists. Rumors are swirling that governments and even the tech giants themselves, including OpenAI and Meta, are quietly lobbying for a massive payout system. They aren't doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, though. They know that the jobless masses won't just sit quietly while their careers evaporate into lines of code. Is UBI the ultimate safety net that frees us from the grind, or is it just a way to keep the peace while the machines take over the steering wheel? Some speculate it's a pacifier for a society that has lost its purpose. It's a debate that's getting louder and more urgent every single day as the 2030 deadline approaches. But hey, it's not all gloom and doom, right? Every revolution creates its own new breed of power players, and this one is no different. From the ashes of the old office royalty, we're seeing some seriously weird and fascinating new jobs emerge. We're talking about AI whisperers, prompt engineers who can navigate the most complex models like modern-day wizards, and reality verifiers whose entire job is to prove what's real in a world drowning in deep fakes. Then there are the humanity authenticity officers who ensure that corporate culture doesn't lose its soul entirely. These are the new high-status roles, but here's the catch that keeps people awake at night. There aren't nearly as many of them as the jobs being lost. It's a narrow gate, and not everyone is going to fit through. Now, let's talk about that 2030 deadline. While most of the mainstream media is fixated on the end of the decade, a lot of tech insiders are whispering about a much closer date, 2027. They're calling it the pivot year. Why the rush? Because the speed of AI development isn't linear, it's exponential. It's doubling and tripling in capability while we're still trying to figure out how to update our resumes. If the current pace holds, the job apocalypse won't wait for 2030 to settle its debts. We might be looking at a total structural collapse of the white-collar market in just 3 years. It's a terrifying thought. Is our timeline shorter than we ever dared to imagine? If 2027 is the real point of no return, we are practically standing on the edge of the cliff right now. Can you imagine a global tech strike? It sounds like a movie plot, but the speculation is real. As the training betrayal becomes obvious to the average worker, there's talk of a worldwide pushback. What happens if the content creators, the junior coders, and the administrative staff all collectively decide to stop feeding the beast? If we refuse to provide the data that trains our own replacements, the tech giants are stuck with stagnant models that can't learn anything new. It would be the ultimate showdown between human labor and algorithmic efficiency, a digital standoff where our survival is at stake. Would it work, or are we already too dependent on the very systems that are replacing us? So which season finale are we heading toward for the human race? Is it a utopian dream where we pursue art and leisure while robots do the heavy lifting? Or is it a dystopian nightmare where tech elites control everything while the rest of us survive on digital breadcrumbs? The battle lines are being drawn in real time, and the choices we make today will determine which version of the future we end up living in. It's the ultimate high-stakes game, and we're all players whether we like it or not. The tension is palpable, and the world is holding its breath for what happens next. So here we are, at the final vibe check of our long journey toward the 2030 horizon. We've looked into the dark corners, seen the leaked memos about Project Q, and felt the heat of the Reddit wars. But now it's time to bring it all home to you. Let's do a quick roll call of the industries currently sitting in the hot seat. If you're a junior coder or a data analyst, the Golden Children era has officially ended. You're no longer the elite, you're now the underdogs fighting against a machine that doesn't sleep, doesn't need a desk, and doesn't ask for a coffee break. Content creators, you're up against an algorithm that can churn out 1,000 scripts in the time it takes you to write a single paragraph. And middle management. That safety net is being shredded by AI models that can optimize a workflow better than any human supervisor. The office royalty is seeing its crown slip, and the invisible coup is almost complete. Now, here is the ultimate question. Is your job AI-proof or just AI-delayed? It's a brutal distinction. Being AI-proof means your value comes from something fundamentally human, so deeply rooted in empathy, dexterity, or creativity that a machine simply can't replicate it. Think about the therapists, the master craftsman, or or the emergency responders who make life or death calls. Being AI delayed, on the other hand, just means the tech giants haven't found the right data set to replace you yet. They're still working on that training betrayal, quietly using your work to teach the next version of the software how to do it all without you. Are you building a fortress, or are you just waiting for the tide? I really want to hear from you, because the community is where survival strategies are starting to emerge. The global workforce can actually talk back here. Drop a comment below right now. Are you already planning your career pivot into a trade? Are you learning to be an AI whisperer? Or are you betting everything on your boss, valuing your soul over cold efficiency? Let's get a real debate going. Are you an AI optimist who thinks this will free us from the 9 to 5? Or are you part of the anti-work crowd preparing for the global tech strike? Your strategy could be the blueprint someone else needs to survive the next 5 years. The 2030 countdown has already started, and if those whispers about the 2027 pivot year are true, the clock is ticking a whole lot faster than any of us anticipated. This isn't a distant movie, it's the reality of your next Monday meeting. The invisible coup is happening in the background of every Zoom call and every line of code you commit. We are moving toward that point of no return where the global workforce will either adapt or become a relic of a pre-automated age. It's a high-stakes thriller, and we are all the protagonists trying to find the exit before the credits roll on the world we once knew. Before you go, here's a cheeky little reminder. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Seriously, do it now, unless you'd rather wait for an AI to do it for you in a few years. We need to keep this human community strong while we still can, right? Plus, it helps us keep the lights on while we navigate this digital apocalypse together. But wait, I have to leave you with one final thought. We've spent this series talking about jobs disappearing, but what if there is one specific industry that experts say AI can never touch? One sanctuary where human essence is the only currency, or can it? Next time, we're diving into the last frontier of the human spirit to see if even our most sacred spaces are up for grabs. Stay curious, stay human, and we'll see you in the next one. The 2030 countdown is on.